Well, good morning. Welcome to Daily Videos with me, Pastor Michelle. And in the squeaking corner is Lemmy playing with one of her toys. Anyway, today's Tuesday, February 2nd, and let's start with prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I'm a multitasker. What can I say? As I pray, I play. As I pray, I play. All right. Let's hear a reading from 2 Timothy. For this reason, I remind you to rekindle the gift of God that is within you through the laying on of my hands. For God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. God's love note. Whenever one of my children transitions into another form of ministry and service to me, I love the way their faith family gathers around them and places hands on their head and shoulders and back as a sign of their sending the power of my love and light to that person to strengthen them for the task ahead. Today, I invite you to think about the calling I have called you to, and I invite you to pause and feel my hand resting on your head. My power and my love coursing through you to strengthen you for the task. If there is someone in your life who needs a blessing, lay a hand on their head today and pray my love and power flow over them also. You deserve that strength, and when you have it in you, let it pour forth to others. That's how the power of my love keeps moving in the world. All right. Hold on. I'm going to lay hands on Snoopy, okay? Sorry, Lemmy's playing. So today we're going to talk about Mary and Martha. And actually, they're the last women from this, or no, there's a few more. Okay, one more. So they're two sisters who were very close friends of Jesus. So at some point in his ministry, Jesus decided to go south to Jerusalem. Like the prophet Jeremiah before him, Jesus would appeal to his fellow Jews in the sacred sanctuary of the temple. It was the month of Nisan, probably in the year 30 CE, when thousands of Jews would converge on Jerusalem for the great Passover festival. The last and final stop before reaching Jerusalem was a place called Bethany. Here, according to the Gospels, lived two sisters, Mary and Martha, with their brother Lazarus. From these accounts, it appears that Jesus was a close and loving friend, perhaps a relative. In first century Roman Palestine, friendship, and particularly friendship with people in other towns, was often defined in terms of blood relations. Indeed, Mary and Martha's home would serve as the setting for two important events. The first event, and we'll talk about the second tomorrow, appears in the Gospel of Luke, and it relates how Jesus began to teach as soon as he entered the house. Mary sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying, and another example of Jesus' extraordinary concern to invite both men and women in his entourage. While Mary sat and listened, Martha had to work twice as hard to get the house ready for Jesus' stay. Exasperated, she turned to Jesus and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me." But Jesus replied, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her." Jesus' response had a twofold meaning: that the spirituality trumped material concerns, but also that women disciples should be treated on equal terms as men. And here's a painting of Jesus in the house of Mary and Martha. So the Gospel of John also adds another story with the Bethany sisters. When Jesus was still on the road, their brother Lazarus fell ill, and his sisters feared for his life. They sent an urgent message to Jesus saying, "Lord, he whom you love is ill." But by the time Jesus arrived, Lazarus had already died. Martha was very upset and said, "Lord, if you had not been here, my brother would not have died." Mary, the more sensitive one, simply burst into tears, weeping so bitterly that Jesus was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. This is where the famous shortest passage of the Bible where it says Jesus wept, which is a very powerful. Those two words mean so much. Jesus ordered the stone of Lazarus' tomb to be removed and cried out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" And immediately the dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face was wrapped in a cloth. So I love that story of Lazarus. And I also just love that Jesus cried, because if Jesus wept And we see Jesus as pointing us to God. It shows that God cried. It's just a powerful, powerful demonstration of even God grieving. So let's turn our attention to humans of New York, shall we? So, my friends, here's this guy. He's 22. And he says, I'm 22, but I don't think I'm young. I think you mature the moment you know what to do. That's good. And then this guy says, I feel stuck. What's keeping you stuck exactly? If I knew that, I'd be unstuck. And here's a fun one. I'm collecting rocks. My gosh, when's the last time you felt that kind of joy over collecting rocks? Kids can teach us a lot, can't they? So let's get into Mockingjay, shall we? And hear Katniss and Gale continue their conversation. He might have been tortured or persuaded. My guess is he's made some kind of deal to protect you. He put forth the idea of the ceasefire if Snow let him present you as a confused pregnant girl who had no idea what was going on when she was taken prisoner by the rebels. This way, if the districts lose, there's still a chance of leniency for you if you play it right. I must still look perplexed because Gale delivers the next line very slowly. Katniss, he's still trying to keep you alive. To keep me alive, and then I understand the games are still on. We had left the arena, but since Peeta and I weren't killed, his last wish was to preserve my life. His idea is to have me lie low, remain safe, and in prison while the war plays out. Then neither side will really have to cause to kill me. And Peeta, if the rebels win, it will be disastrous for him. And if the Capitol wins, who knows? Maybe we'll both be allowed to live if I play it right to watch the games go on. Images flashed in my mind, the spear-piercing Rue's body in the arena, Gale hanging senseless from the whipping posts, the corpse-littered wasteland of my home, and for what? My blood turns hot. I remember other things. My first glimpse of an uprising in District 8, the victors locked hand in hand the night before the quarter quell, and how it was no accident, my shooting that arrow into the force field in the arena, how badly I wanted to lodge deep in the heart of my enemy. I spring up, upsetting a box of pencils, sending them scattering around the floor. What is it? There can't be a ceasefire. I lean down, fumbling as I shove the sticks of dark gray graphic back into the box. We can't go back. I know. Gale sweeps up a handful of pencils and taps them on the floor into perfect alignment. Whatever reason Peeta had for saying those things, he's wrong. The stupid sticks won't go in the box, and I snap several in frustration. I know. Give it here. You're breaking them to bits. He pulls the box from my hands and refills it with swift, concise motions. He doesn't know what they did to 12. If he could have seen what was on the ground, Katniss, I'm not arguing. If I could hit a button and kill every living soul working for the Capitol, I would do it without hesitation. He slides the last pencil into the box and flips the lid closed. The question is, what are you going to do? It turns out the question that's been eating away at me has only ever had one possible answer, but it took Peeta's ploy for me to recognize it. What am I going to do? I take a deep breath. My arms rise slightly as if recalling the black and white wings Cena gave me, then come to rest at my sides. I'm going to be the Mockingjay. So she decides to be exactly who she was supposed to be at that moment. And that's kind of how I feel. All of us should figure out who we are and what we are supposed to do with our lives. Because life is precious. Life, you don't know how many days or minutes you're going to have. Anyway, so I think of the great poet. Oh, crap. Sorry, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I quote her a lot. And she does the poem that says, what are you going to do with your one crazy life? And I think of that. So God bless you all, my friends. Stay safe out there.